As we seem to say virtually every other day these days because of how many fantastic Range Rover Sports we have in our collection, this is another lovely one. In fact, for those who fancy something a bit different and certainly a bit rarer when it comes to its visual combination, this might be a perfect car for you to consider because, as you can immediately see, it is definitely different. It has that factory painted metallic Loire blue paint, but also to top that off, it has that high contrasting Indus silver roof. And that is a stunning combination with that blue, as well as with a heated ebony and ivory leather interior. It has that full tilt and slide panoramic roof. Of course, the spec sheet on a car like this is huge, being a HSE Dynamic from 2016, and as if those stunning looks weren't enough, the mileage on this car is incredible. This has to be one of the loveliest examples when you put together its mileage, its history, and its visual spec, because this car has covered 49,000 miles. And if you're wondering about a point of reference on just how that compares to most other Range Rover Sports, that's 33,000 less miles than most on the market, which is quite the gulf between this car and those. And even at that point, you're still not paying a massive premium on price, given that this car is under £22,000. Still, of course, has the option of low deposit financing if you did want to spread out the cost, but at that price point, you're quite literally talking about a car which is a fraction of what it was when new, around a third, in fact, of how much these cost back in 2016. And what that means in practice is that certainly in the case of a car like this, which has crucially been taken care of, you still have all of those wonderful advantages and certainly a massive spec sheet, which we'll get to in a second, with such a ridiculous saving on price and even efficiency as well, because with the 3-litre SD V6 engine, and any who are familiar with our collection know that is by far the most in-demand engine we actually find for these cars, you have on the one hand 300 horsepower, so performance is not exactly lacking, 516 foot-pounds of torque, that's up around 700 newtons, in other words, quite literally more pulling power than a Bentley. Again, not bad for a car which is under £22,000, but unlike a Bentley, you can average up to 40 miles per gallon, which of course is one of the key improvements of this era of the Range Rover Sport over the already popular ones which came before. On the motorway, of course, it's even better, as high as 44, and even for yearly road tax, it's £345 a year. To circle back to the point of its history though, not only is the mileage absolutely stunning, but it is well backed up by a full main agent service history. In fact, it was most recently serviced 2,000 miles ago, including its cam belt and water pump having already been changed. It's in stunning condition, simply put, inside and out. And speaking to the inside, that of course is where most of the goodies are. It has that tilt and slide panoramic roof, voice controlled navigation, Meridian sound system, 360-degree surround cameras with, of course, parking sensors as well, adaptive xenon lights with signature LEDs that includes self-leveling and self-washing lights, dual view touchscreen with multiple 12-volt power points, auxiliary inputs as well as Bluetooth and USB, of course cruise control, dual zone climate control, adaptive dynamics, high and low ratio transfer box so you can have it on and off-road if you need to, which depending on the weather and where you are in the country, that could certainly come in handy at certain times of year. Torque vectoring as well with Isofix anchor points if you do plan to fit child seats as well. Just across the board, it's practical enough to use every day, but comfortable enough and well appointed enough to be a genuine luxury car, which even today, compared to brand new cars in fact, still is so impressive with how much car you get under one platform. And it really is when you go back to that price where the sheer value for money, the bang for buck if you will, really comes into focus. Under £22,000 for something with this stunning visual combination and remarkably good mileage with the history to back it up as well. We really do not think this car is going to stick around for very long at all. So of course, if you are looking for one of these and this particular car catches your eye, you fancy something a bit different with that incredible condition, then we would recommend probably not sticking around before reaching out. And of course, you can do so via the email address shown right here on screen, or give us a call on 01749 871 155 or via our mobile number of 07482 267 439.